How you doing, guys? Today I am working on a Briggs and Stratton engine. Very reminiscent to the engine that's on my 1965 Rugg carpet cut. But the difference is this is an electric start version. Oh yeah. So I picked this engine up at the Zagre Tractor Show. The guy was fairly, the price was fair. He was asking a price. He wouldn't budge, but I was like, you know what? I haven't been able to find one of these engines in a while. Plus, I haven't been able to find one ever, really, with an electric start. So I said, you know what? I'm willing to throw the dice on it. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start field stripping this engine. We're going to take a look at what's the good, what's the bad, and what's the ugly. And once we get it all torn down, we'll figure out what we're actually going to do with it. So let's go ahead and take the gas tank and the carburetor off, get the blower cover off, get the head off. And then from there, we'll size up basically what the issues may be. With a few items removed from the engine, we can start to see the similarities and the differences between the electric start version and the basic rope start version like I have on my Rugg. For differences, number one, the base plate is completely different. On the Rugg, right where the electric starter is, there's an embossment, and that's where the oil drain is. On this motor, it's on the opposing side right there. It also, it's kind of interesting, it has a drain right here. But you know, for the Rugg, if I put the electric start engine on the Rugg, we're not going to be using this one. We'll just keep it blocked off, but we would use this one, and it's in a pretty good place where we can still dump the oil out without much issue, or no more issue than it would be with the rope start engine. The base plate also has an embossment for the lower bracket for the electric starter. The block actually has an embossment on the top of here, or a bolt hole I should say, for the starter to actually bolt on, and then the starter actually uses one of the blower housing bolts to hold it there. So a couple differences. The block is different here, and the base plate is different there for those things. You can see whoever had this engine, they love silicone, so right then and there we know somebody's been in it. Kind of neat. It does have a stator in it, or an alternator according to the Briggs manual, so we have that. The flywheel is completely different. It has the starter ring on it, as well as a little bit thinner style flywheel. Because of the starter ring, the coil actually has factory spacers in it from the towers to raise the coil up on both sides, so that's pretty cool. So that's a little bit of a difference. The rest of the motor, for the most part, is exactly the same as the 4 horsepower engine I did for the Rugg. The blower cover itself is a little bit different. It's got some different angles to get around things. It actually has a cutout. Sorry. It actually has a, where is it? Where's the cutout? Ah, sorry. Duh. There's the cutout for the starter motor itself. So kind of neat. All neat stuff right there. The bore shroud and the head shroud, those are the same. Gas tank's the same. Carburetor is the same. So I got a lot of carburetors down in a lot of NOS carburetors we can use for that. And I have another NOS gas tank, but this one is in real nice shape, so I'll probably just repaint that one. I think the next, the head is in good shape. But the bore is not so good. We take a look inside there. Let me see here. You can see there's a lot of scores. There's a ton of scores at the top. You just can't, there they are. So what I'm thinking is I'm just gonna, because it's an aluminum block, you can hone this thing out 10,000ths. You know, just make sure you keep measuring the bore. You can hone these engine blocks out 10,000ths. So right now, preliminarily, I'm going to get a 10,000 over piston for it, and I'm going to get a set of rings 10,000ths over. And these scores are not that deep. 10,000ths would take them right out, so we'll be right back to factory. It is kind of interesting. There is some factory hone still left in it, but that's the plan right now for that. So let me go ahead. Let's get the flywheel off. Let's get the ignition module, the air vane. Let's get all that stuff out of the way and take a look what we have underneath. But here's the alternator, or the stator. It appears it has continuity through it, so I'm assuming that it's okay. Looks like we have a couple wires here that could have been cut off this thing, so we need to be careful on that. But where's the points? I mean, there isn't even any threads. There's no threads for where the little point stand was set. The plunger is not drilled. This is where the condenser would typically be, with the little half flap to hold it over. I mean, it's not like it's missing. It's not even threaded for any of this stuff. How the hell does this thing work? I'm trying to get the base plate off right now. So with these aluminum blocks, remember, you don't want to drive a screwdriver in between the block and the base plate, because it's just aluminum. You're going to gouge the living you-know-who. Just take a razor blade and a utility knife and just slowly, very slowly work it right around, and it should break, especially when you have like a sealer like this. It should break it free enough where we can get this up and off. Not too bad. Hasn't been run much since that pan has been off. We'll take a closer look at it in a second. Here's the governor, and this is the governor and the slinger. Doesn't look like it's in bad shape at all. Looks like it's in pretty good shape. Looks like it just needs to be cleaned. Interesting. We'll have to take a look at that also. Oh, there's the that's that shim that was missing in the last engine that I did. Looks like it's still in good shape. We'll have to keep that. We don't want to lose that. I'm going to take this out of the way though. I'm going to leave the governor arm in. I'm not going to take that out. I didn't take it out of the last engine, so I'm not going to take it out of this one. Let's see if we can get this camshaft out. Oh, must be under tension here. Interesting. What do we, oh, all right, we got my. Of course, my hands are covered in oil right now, so I can't get this thing to twist. Oh, there we go. Interesting. It does not want to spin. All right. I think I know why. There we go. There we go. Now we should be able to. There we go. There we go. Yeah, camshaft looks good. Doesn't look like there's a lot of wear on that, so we'll save that for that. Oh, I do want to mark my lifters. The inside of the block looks great. All right, let me get a few things cleaned up here, and we'll take a look inside. And there it is. The block has been completely emptied. Everything looks pretty good. I mean, there's a couple things. Like, you can see the scores in the bore. They look worse than they are here on camera. You can feel them, so I'll have to hone them out and get a bigger piston. The valve seats look pretty good. Outside of that, there's no gouge marks. There's just a ton of gasket sealer everywhere. I mean, oh my God. This reminds me how I used to do engines. I mean, that's just really bad. There was no gasket in there, so, you know, it was just going to leak anyways. Camshaft looks good. Nothing out of the ordinary. It's got a little wear and tear on top of the lobes, but completely usable. The head is usable, no problems there. This, I just want to I gotta take a look because this just looks odd to me. I thought the other engine I had these big flapper-like things. They were actually, all of them were big. I don't know, I can't remember. But we'll take a look at that. The shim is here, so that's good. The breather's fine. Tube just needs to be cleaned. The valves are the valves. You know, they just, oop, there they are. You know, they're just old and kind of tired, both of them. This is the intake valve. You can see that it was an oil burner, probably from those scores, but we'll get that fixed up. We got new valves for it already when I got them at the Wheel Horse show. Same with the carburetor and the overall kill switch. I think the big thing for me is just what was the ignition system on this thing, because as you can see, none of it's machined for plungers or any of that stuff. So all the threads are good. It just needs to be cleaned, measured, and got to get some parts. So oh, and then the piston, all right, so the cap did have some discoloration in it. I don't know what that's from. The crank doesn't have any marks. I'll show you the crank in 1 second, but you can see this thing was knocking around a little bit. And it definitely has some skirt slap. If we take a look at the crank is actually in real nice shape. I mean, turn it over. There's a little bit of markings right there, but you know what? I'll polish all that off. That'll be fine. We'll get a new rod for it, so we won't have any of those issues. The bore here for the lower bearing, it's actually in really good shape compared to the one I built for the Rugg. That had some scores on the inside. This one here has scores or weirdo scory feelings here on the crank. It's kind of different, but in general, all of this is ready to go. Is that thing even drilled? Oh, it is drilled. Interesting. So it does have 2 drain holes. Cam area looks fine. So there you go, guys. That's the electric start 5-horse L head aluminum block Briggs. Next up, put it through the washer, get it all cleaned up, start doing some machine work, and figure out the ignition system. All right. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you're interested in seeing this engine get resurrected. If you know anything about that ignition systems, if you can put a comment down below, and if you know there's a website or something that I could go take a look at to figure it all out, if you can put the link below also. If you would, like, share, and subscribe. And as always, until we get back to this engine and ultimately the seniors motor, which is coming up shortly, you guys have a great day.